everyone, this is Catherine from the Ridgefield Historical Society. Welcome to today's episode of Change Agents, Ridgefield Women to be Remembered with Dr. Darla Shaw. Today we're going to discuss Elizabeth Ballard. Hi, Darla.
Hi, Catherine. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I am Elizabeth Biglow Ballard. I was born in the late 1800s and I came to Ridgefield. I was only 11 years old. Every summer till I was 86, I came to Ridgefield. Oh, I have such a fond part of my heart linked to Ridgefield. Well, I was known as one of the grand dames of Ridgefield. There was Mary Alcott, and her family estate was Casagmo, Casa Home GMO. This was the initials of her father, Casagmo. Oh, she did so much for the town. She was a great suffragette. Another grand dame down the street was Louise Shields. Again, lived near the Lounsbury House, was a strong suffragette and did so much for the town. Well, I also did a great deal for the town, but I think my claim to fame was that in 1964, I left 5 of the most beautiful acres in Ridgefield to the town, and it became Ballard Park. I lived a very, very privileged life. I lived on Park Avenue. I went to finishing schools. My father, Lucius, was a lawyer and he was a music company producer with a man, Mr. Jonathan Main. Well, my father produced hymns. Now, Mr. Main, who produced the hymns with him, lived in Ridgefield. And this famous hymn writer, a blind woman named Franny Crosby, lived in Ridgefield as well. She wrote over 8,000 hymns. Well, these two people love Ridgefield. And when my father said, I'm looking for a summer home, they said, come to Ridgefield. Well, when I was very young, the chauffeur drove us to Ridgefield. Some people came in that unique little train from Branchville to where Ridgefield Supply is now. Ridgefield was very different then. There were 10 luxurious hotels for summer people. So we stayed at one of these luxurious hotels in Ridgefield. And my father started looking for a home here. Oh, we were so excited. My father was also a historian, and he chose the home of Colonel Philip Burr Bradley. He was the commander of the 5th Regiment during the Battle of Ridgefield. Good friend of George Washington, cousin of Aaron Burr. He was a military hero. He was a statesman. Oh, he also became the first postmaster in town and was justice of the peace. My father loved this house on Main Street. Now across the street at the time, there was the Smith Tavern. And the Smith Tavern was very similar to what we know of as Keeler Tavern today. It was a tavern, it was an inn, it was what we would call a gin mill. Now it burned down. After that, a wonderful man, James Morris, wanted to build a tribute to his deceased wife in town. So he bought this property, put up the Ridgefield Library. So here I was living across the street from the Ridgefield Library and spending so much time there. We moved in 1889. There was a big iron fence around the building. And on the columns on the fence, it said Graylow, 1889. Now, like Casagmo, this was sort of a strange name. Well, my mother's maiden name was Graham. My father's name was Bigelow. They put the two names together. They added an E to make it sound more Celtic. And that's how our property became known as the Graylow Estate. Now, my father decided to change things a little bit. All of the early colonial homes were like right on the road. He moved it back among these beech trees that were hundreds of years old, these sugar maples, the red oaks, the hemlocks. We were surrounded by the most beautiful trees. Now, my mother was a gardener. He built her a formal garden and also a greenhouse. And my father loved Ridgefield so much, and he was an investment banker as well. He decided to buy the Bigelow block. Now, the Bigelow block was to the left, and it's those stucco buildings that you see, and there's the pizzeria there. My family owned all of those stores and restaurants down that road. We were a very influential family in town. When my parents decided to move on, they had a decision to make. What are they going to do with the land? Well, we had land in other places all over the country. So each of the children, I had a brother and a sister, got different pieces of property. My parents knew that I loved Ridgefield, so they gave me the Ridgefield property. At that time, I was married to Edward. He was also into banking and investments and insurances and so on. He was more than happy to come here in the summers with our children. And Horatio. Oh, we were so active when we were here in Ridgefield. I joined the Village Improvement Group, the Garden Club, and with Anna Richardson and a handful of other women, we started the Boys Club in Ridgefield. Now, why did we do this? The town had so many immigrant workers, the mothers and fathers to make a living were working several jobs. The boys were getting into trouble. They were good kids. They needed a place to work out, play, sports. We started the Boys Club for them. Oh, before I died, I received the Keystone Award for doing so much for boys' clubs nationally. This made me feel so good. I also established, and it's still going, the Elizabeth Ballard Scholarship for needy students who were so academically superior. I guess my heart, though, more than anything else, was in gardening. Oh, those beautiful trees that we had. I added all sorts of ornamental, unique bushes. I added Japanese scholar trees. There were 150 different species of flowers in my garden. I loved perennials. I loved pollinator plants. I loved plants that were indigenous to our particular area. I added a pergola, an iron canopy for the plants. I totally extended the formal gardens and the greenhouse, and I was into color. Every season, the colors in my garden changed. In the summer, down to the south of the gardens were the whites and the light blues and the pinks. The colors got bolder and stronger as we went north. 4th of July, red, white, and blue flowers. The autumn came, the crimsons, the gold, the maroon, and so on. My gardens won awards all the time at different fairs. My gardens were in Architectural Digest, Better Homes and Gardens. When I donated the park to the town, I donated my gardens to the Katatoa Garden Club, to the Ridgefield Garden Club. They have done such a magnificent job with these gardens. Each year there's a very special day, and that day is Mother's Day. They have a plant sale. They make enough money to keep those gardens going all year long. Oh, my gardens. I can just sit back, close my eyes, and envision the beauty of these gardens. But at the end of my life, I had a decision to make, just like my parents did. What is going to happen to this fabulous land? I looked at my friend Mary Alcott. She had sold Casagmo to a developer. How many condos? Too many to even count. I didn't want that happen to my acres. Yes, I could have said no condos, 1 acre zoning, 5 mini mansions. That could have been an alternative. I talked to my children. My children were all over the country and in Europe. They all had substantial livings. They didn't need the property. I decided in 1964 to deed Graylow to the town. I did the right thing. Yes, I did. I was so happy to learn that after I left, it became the most peaceful park at times. Other times there were concerts, there were fairs, there were festivals. They added a gazebo, a bandstand, a state-of-the-art park. But what they did that really got to me, they took the back acreage, and with this acreage, they built little cottages for senior citizens who needed them. They built a kitchen for Meals on Wheels so that people would not have to worry about cooking and feeding themselves when they were elderly. There was an art school for young children at one time, and now there's an alternative high school for the students who need to learn in a different type of environment. Oh, my 5 acres have helped this town so much. I just can't imagine Main Street without Graylow, Ballard Park being there. And my message to you is this: if you have something to donate to the town, something of value, think of your legacy. Think of the lifetime of happiness that you can bring. Who inspired me? Anna Richardson and the Richardson Estate Park, Pierpont, Bennett's Pond, the 3 women of Weir Farm who donated their beautiful acreage, and it became the only national park in Connecticut, and then Ballard Park. Leave a legacy. Think of the town. We have more than enough amazing homes and condos in town. What we need places for serenity, calmness, peace, harmony, and love. Thank you. Next week, you're going to be hearing about a very different woman. Her name was Dr. Blandine Brewster. This woman was a pioneer doctor when most women were lucky to have a 6th or an 8th grade education. She was a pioneer pediatrician. She was a doctor, a trainer of doctors. And where did she live? A wonderful place that is still in her family today, the Hickories in the Farmingville area of town. And now I'd like to go back to Catherine because she has such an important message for you.
Thanks so much, Darla. That was wonderful. I just wanted to come back and invite everyone to participate in our Town in Lego, a Lego sculpture contest that we're running right now through the end of the year. It's for all ages. Everyone can participate. And one of the structures that you can make a model of, a sculpture of, is the Ballard Park gazebo. So I thought it would be a great tie-in with today's program, and please check out our Lego sculpture contest on our website at ridgefieldhistoricalsociety.org. Thanks again, Darla, for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Catherine.